We have seen the power of diplomacy in the case of Iranian nuclear deal. Can we not do the same way? As soon as Iranian nuclear deal was announced last July, I have telephoned all the foreign ministers of P5. Please show unity of purpose and your political commitment on Syria. There are many other issues, but first of all, Syria should be addressed. Much more needs to be done now. In that regard, I sincerely hope that this conference in London should be used not only as mobilizing fund, as the place where we can give strong pressure, not only on Syrian group, but the international community as a whole. Yeah.
Is the UN doing enough within Syria on the humanitarian front? Because some of your critics, particularly among the Syrian opposition, complain that they think the UN is too much in thrall, overwhelmed by the power of the Syrian government, and isn't actually standing up to the Syrian government and denouncing what the Syrian government is doing in the towns which it is laying siege to, and the majority of towns which are under siege by government forces.
I'm conscious of this criticism by the people and by humanitarian assistance groups. At the same time, the situation on the ground is very difficult. For example, 400,000 Syrian people are living in 15 different besieged cities. About 50%, 200,000 people, are living in the territory under the control of Daesh, and 180,000 people under the control of Syrian government, and maybe 20,000 under the influence of Syrian armed groups. I have been urging, and all these international human rights and humanitarian groups have been urging to open the gates, and all these blocks should be open, unimpeded way. But we have been totally blocked by this. Last year, we have been able to provide at least 5% of this population received our support, but much less this time. And because of this, with this donor conference in London, with this continuing human tragedy, they should act as a human being. Whatever ideologies, whatever the political orientation they may have, they are human beings, they are Syrian people. We live together. Otherwise, we are abandoning our political and moral responsibility as the leaders of this world.
King Abdullah of Jordan has told the BBC this week that his country can no longer cope with the number of refugees it's having to receive from Syria, that it has in the past coped with huge numbers, but it can no more. What can you do to help?
I myself visited Zaatari camp in Jordan. It's heartbreaking. Now the number has reached 1.2 million. This again, for a small country with a small population, Jordan is untenable now. I do not know how we can maintain this kind of a situation. That's why after 3 consecutive pledging conference in Kuwait, in London, this pledging conference should be totally different one, not only mobilizing funding. We have to address in a comprehensive way. Of course, political negotiation is now going on in Geneva, but we have to show much more strength, the political and moral responsibility on influencing the parties and regional powers to move on inclusive political dialogue. That's the only way. There is no military solution. In the meantime, we have to do our job as leaders of this world to save the people, to provide life-saving support. I appreciate the leaders who have come to London.